All right, welcome everyone to session, I believe, 38 of the Space Between. We have managed to go without a recap from last session, but as your gracious GM, I will fill the gap. So let this be motivation for you to make sure it happens next time. um, I guess that means I better not do too good a job, or you know, might get a might end up with a job more often. Um, anyway, we started off having finished one night on Straya, and with Eva waking a few people up in the early pre-dawn with her loud machines in her workshop. I think specifically grinding,
hmm
and yeah, Cherry put the kibosh on that, and I guess I basically instituted a pre dawn ban on noise that is disruptive, and Eva agreed. Um, believe there's a little bit more shenanigans on the ship, but I think some rooms were claimed, and then you guys geared up for resuming the hunt for the survivor from the colony. And you did that. You decided to all stick together to minimize on chaos and getting separated, and Zeke having to teleport around. So you all teleported together to the closest spot you could to their, uh, I guess, their trail from the night before, and then got on your way, picking the trail back up. Um, had a fairly uneventful hunt, other than running into some extra large spiders. Um, Fortunately, nobody got hurt, and the spiders were scared far away with some not indiscriminate laser fire, but overwhelming firepower, we'll say. And was it? No, it wasn't laser fire. It was
There's Mag.
mag pistol, mag pistol fire. Um, I had this image in my head for some reason of just lighting up the jungle with laser fire. Anyway, you followed the tracks, managed to actually find a little hollow where this survivor was hunkered down, filtering some water, and you you left Bo and Pete to stay in cover and provide backup if needed, while the other three of you went and made first contact. Negotiation went pretty well. Eva leveraging the fact that she'd helped make some fixes to the greenhouse equipment to get on good graces with this person, and learned a little bit of information just from them that the reactor had blown up from a lightning strike in the middle of a unprecedented storm all those years ago, and also learning that the natives were not too friendly these days. They'd had some sort of a tenuous understanding and mutual avoidance, but after that incident, things seemed to have gone south. I think it was also inferred by Pete, at least, that some of her wording had suggested multiple survivors, and you you ended up trading some spare parts and rations for first that information, but then also the agreement to meet up again in a few days, because she basically cut the discussion short, saying it was dangerous to stay in one place for too long. So,
Don't
you
forget we
all.
negotiated for an interview.
Oh, true. That was part of the continued meeting that would take place back at the colony in a few days. And so, yeah, the interview was going to be for Cherry to record and send or take back to Eva's professor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess one other noteworthy tidbit that caused some discussion was the fact that the person was actually seeming to prefer to stay on the planet rather than be rescued and taken off somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So got a little bit of discussion about that, but that seemed like it might be a topic of further interest to the party. And yeah, I think that pretty well covers it. You guys trekked back to the teleport point and got back on the ship to regroup and, yeah, figure out what to do next. So I think that's about where we are now.
Well, Eva is just working on the laser.
Okay.
I shouldn't say just. She's doing all the things that she normally does, and she's working on the laser.
Yeah, but it sounds like she's basically wanting to take the majority of this day and carve it out for getting work done on this project that she has.
Mm-hmm. I would phrase it differently, but yes, that is the result of it.
Okay. Does she just put her head down and start doing it, or is there a crew discussion beforehand?
Mm, I don't think so. This is a personal project, so uh, no crew discussion needs to be had, or as far as she's concerned.
Okay.
Um,
So it sounds like Eva goes and sequesters herself more or less in her workshop,
kind of, and
and
that's where I would phrase things a little bit differently.
okay, I got
This
you.
this is still Eva, and while she can fixate on things, she also gets distracted,
Hmm.
and so
Okay.
she'll be working on some part of the laser, and then it'll occur to her that there was a panel in cargo bay section 3 that was still loose. Oh, and it would make perfect scrap, so when she replaces it, she can use the broken piece here, that kind of thing.
Hmm. I got you. Yeah. So she might be moving around the ship, but she goes about her own
Yeah,
work and leaves everybody else to their own devices. It sounds like.
yeah, yeah. And maybe I'm misremembering how I've characterized her because I don't remember characterizing her as like extreme focus. I feel like she's more
No,
scatterbrained.
I guess it
Yeah, I
depends.
think you've definitely characterized her as having hyperfocus.
Have I? Okay,
There
then
have definitely
that's just
been situations. I was going to cite specifically the times when she didn't even realize how much time had passed and that the ship had come out of
oh
metadimensional
yeah.
space.
Yeah, no,
Because
definitely that's
yeah,
more observation to me though.
Ace
That's like
ADHD brain. Yeah. It's
You
either
complete every
hyperfixation or everywhere.
maybe I'm just miss missing it. Um yeah, I definitely she gets hyper fixated, hyper focused on what she's doing, but I don't know if I've characterized that she'll do that to the exclusion of all else that might catch her interest. Like I said, would she work on the laser for 10 hours? Oh, you know what? I have said that she frequently forgets to eat. All right, no, I've
Yeah.
just misremembered very very badly. No, you're right. She just uh hyper focuses on the laser. Um,
And I do want to give the caveat. You know, if you're intending to characterize her a little bit differently, that's all. That's totally fine.
no, I don't
Because that.
know. I don't know where my brain went to in thinking that no, she's not like that. Because no, you're right. She's exactly like that.
But yeah, it seemed my impression has been that there's a switch that she can flip. You know, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. That will be okay. This is what I'm doing, and that doesn't mean she's going to ignore anyone who tries to get her attention or anything else that happens. But she's doing something, and that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
Has been my impression.
I may have been a little bit sleep deprived, but yeah, I don't know why I disagreed that she just hyper focuses. That is
That's okay.
exactly what happens.
Yeah, no, I guess I
think
saw it as
it would also be like when she starts getting on a roll, talking about something that interests her, and she doesn't notice. You know, so hyper focused on the topic that she doesn't really notice anybody like not paying attention or not.
Or that they've outright left and she's talking to herself. Yeah, I have also characterized that.
Yeah.
yeah, and no, you're fine. I think I took it as you saying, well, no, that that is not what I specifically meant to say she was doing this time, which don't take issue with at all. Whether or not she does have the tendency or capacity to hyperfixate, you're always welcome to decide if that's the case in this instance.
Yeah.
But it sounds like we are going with that for this session in the workshop.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So what's everybody else doing? Sounds like you got at least a day.
I can't remember if there was anything like long term that Cherry was working on. So my answer would be probably she is going over film, working on that, but she would also want to seek out Zeke. She would want to seek
I
him
like
out
that.
and be like, hey, remember that time that you made me have like a crazy acid trip into the past? We need to talk about that.
Okay. Well, let's shelve that for the moment. But that sounds like a scene definitely worth having at least a little bit. What about Bo?
I think he'd spend most of the time with Apple. I guess they're still getting her set up and
Love that.
training.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he's starting to try to train Apple.
Yeah.
What's his first priority in commands that she'll learn?
He's probably like your classic dog ones, work on like the sit.
Please let it be sit and stay, because
Yeah.
it's a capybara that does that anyway.
I mean, yeah, I could see him using that as just like the capybara is already willing to sit, so then he's like,
Mhm.
"Well, that's one down."
Okay, as long as it does it like 90% of the time, boom, that's good enough for government work. And
Meanwhile, the capybara is like, this dude just keeps giving me treats for like doing what I'm already doing. This is great.
for nothing, yeah.
I lost it for a second there. I heard something about.
Oh, heard something about Zeke. Ooh. Yeah, it said you had connection trouble for a second there, but yeah, we'll have a scene with Zeke and Cherry here in a minute. She was gonna come and talk to him about that vision they had. But yeah, it sounds like both Eva and Bo have their own projects that they're working on.
Yeah, and I guess other than that, his usual stuff. Target practice, being an angsty boy.
Yeah, he's got a time slot set aside for
angst,
moping, dissociating,
Grumbling.
yeah, general humbuggery.
Mm-hmm. And I guess
but,
also because people got to eat.
Yeah, mealtime in there too. Why not? Yeah. So, and I suppose you'll, as you go about the ship, you'll find Pete, practicing some forms on a dummy, and probably be trying out a little target practice himself at some point, and otherwise just chilling. Likes to charge and read books.
Like is a strong word considering last session's conversation.
Pete. I don't know. It seems like Pete has had a difficult time figuring out what he does actually like to do with his spare time. But reading does seem to be the default that he has chosen to use his spare time for. All right, so let's see. Cherry goes looking for Zeke. Where does she find him, Avery?
Was Bo doing something with the capybara? Sorry, I couldn't really hear what was going on earlier.
Oh yeah, you're good. He was he's gonna be trying to train her some and
Yeah, that's what I
maybe do a
thought.
little work to get her set up.
He's probably watching him train the capybara, just enamored with his progress.
Okay. Cherry enters stage right.
Oh, hey, there you are.
Hello?
What is he doing? And she's looking at Bo, like staring into the eyes of the capybara.
Oh, well, we've been working on waiting. I think she's got that down pat. Good job, Apple. Now come here. And I'm picturing just Apple is like nonplussed, still waiting exactly where she was.
Yeah, she's just sitting.
You're just so good at that wait command, aren't you? But now it's time you got to come on over here. You got to come over here. Want to get some more apple? Yeah, get some apples for Apple.
Yeah, she after a bit of urging and enough waving at the apple, she does decide to lumber to her feet and then slowly walk over to nibble on the apple.
Well, there you go. You're a natural. I wonder if they got Capybara Kennel Club shows for you.
Oh my word. Can I talk to you privately?
Sure.
Anything you got to say to him, you can say to me and Apple.
No, that's actually Pat's fault.
So are we asking them to leave, or?
No, they're busy. Come on. And then she would wave at Bo, and then she would look at Apple and just nod her head and say, Apple. As a way of goodbye.
Apple munches an apple in her direction.
What did you want to talk about?
So as they exit there, I think if I'm remembering correctly, that Cherry's room is like right off of that area. Am I correct in remembering that?
Yeah, if they were in the like in a little.
Cargo bay, right?
Well, the cargo bay is like the first floor. Her room, all the rooms, and the little galley are up the ladder.
Okay. So she would motion him to come on, and then she would say, "You didn't really want me to talk about this in public." So she would wait for him to follow her until they got to her room.
Okay.
Yep,
You
he'd follow.
when you get in your room, Ryuk is sitting in there, flipping through some book or other.
She
Looks,
would. Sorry, go ahead.
he just looks up when you come in.
She would have kind of talked to him about this before as like a ground rule for sharing a room, and she would just kind of,
Mhm.
nod her head towards the door.
He
No
would.
explanation.
Okay. He would. He would look between her and Zeke, nod his head. He grabs book and stand up. Check around himself real quick. Like, yep, okay. I'll see you. And then heads out the door, off to some other part of the ship.
Okay, so now that we have some privacy, what exactly was the vision that we saw?
But it was something that happened approximately where we were at in the past.
And you don't want to tell people that you can see that?
More like I'm not supposed to.
Who said you're not supposed to?
Well, there are taboos against doing these kinds of things. Technically, consequences that could be detrimental to myself and others.
To
I don't
seeing
fully.
stuff that already happened?
Yeah. Well, in that specific way, I mean, obviously, if we caught it on video, it's a little different, but him kind of casually just opening a window into the past.
Yeah, I guess it's just that it would save us a whole lot of time if you could just tell Eva, since, that's our entire job here. Did you have any idea on how to help her figure it out without, just telling her?
Not exactly, no.
I do.
Cherry sits down and just puts her hands in her face, on her face, and is just,
I'm sure
what?
between the two of us, we can figure it out.
Well,
I wasn't
yeah,
going to get there by myself.
what?
I wasn't going to get there by myself. Obviously.
So you just pulled me into your little time hop because you wanted my help.
Well, and I trust you.
She gives him kind of an eyebrow. Do you just trust a whole bunch of people?
No. No, I don't.
Then why would you trust me over, like, Eva? She's a genius.
Well, the way this conversation's going, I'm starting to wonder if I shouldn't have trusted you. Do I have a reason not to? Do you
I'm
know
just,
something?
you just seem to have a whole lot of confidence in my ability to figure out whatever happened. I just feel like Eva's the smarter one.
I don't know that necessarily that's what I think you're skilled at, figuring out my technique that you've never seen before and the consequences of getting to view it.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I guess thanks for trusting me. Okay, let's just at least talk about what we saw. What did you see so we can figure out if we saw the same thing?
I'm pretty sure I saw an armadillo man go into that reactor.
A what?
A giant armored humanoid figure.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I saw. What? I don't know what an armadillo is. Anyway, that's the same thing I saw. So, and then did you see him get like struck by lightning or something?
I actually can't remember. Did we see him get struck by lightning?
Oh my word!
that was out of character, I think.
That is out of character.
That's gotta be in character.
If
In
you do that
character?
in character, it's going to be very painful, but out of character, did we actually see that? Ben, can you remind us?
Yeah. So what you saw in a flash of light was the figure standing in the doorway to the reactor room, holding some sort of metal rod in one hand and some kind of cable running out of the reactor room in the other hand, and then the rod getting struck by lightning.
And he was walking out of the reactor room with the cable and rod?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Into the storm?
Yes.
Yeah, so in character, I guess. You know what? I think you're right. I think he did get struck by lightning because he was carrying that big metal rod around, right?
Right?
And
For what face he was making? Like, did he look surprised or? Because I remember him looking. She kind of pales for a second as she pauses. Well, just he looked angry.
I don't remember him or his facial expression, rather. I was too busy with looking at the other things in his hand. I mean, he also had a cable he was towing out of the reactor room. I'm sure getting struck by lightning, that cable, they've all got to be related somehow.
I guess the question is, did he mean to get the cable struck by lightning, or was it an accident?
Oh, sure. He just happened to be holding the two things he needed to blow up the reactor on accident.
Oh, come on. Weirder things have happened.
Sure. Sure. No, I definitely think it was on purpose. Well, I guess we assume that he blew up the reactor. That's kind of where my vision gets a little hazy.
Yeah, explosions will do that.
Well, I don't know if it cut off because of an explosion or if that's all I could see.
Can I ask you another question about these visions?
Sure.
When you have these visions, are you seeing through someone else's eyes or at a point in time?
That's a good question. I don't actually know. They're so short. It could be from the vision of someone else.
When can you do it again?
Um, I mean, I try not to do it very often, only when it really might benefit me. Like I said earlier, there are technically consequences from abusing that.
How could there be consequences if you're just looking, unless there's a way you're affecting the outcome?
I'm just telling you what the texts say.
Well, you've never really been one to abide by all the texts. No offense.
No, certainly not. But when it says this could kill you, you got to be a little concerned there about the unpredictable consequences that may or may not befall me.
All right. Well,
I can technically do it today.
really?
I've done it as frequently as once a day.
She looks at first really excited and then really hesitant. Okay, well, you don't have to take me with you again, but like next time you do it, just like, can you go back to the same spot in time?
That's not how it works.
How does it work then? I'm trying to figure that out.
It's sort of like a gravity well, where
She stares at him like really blankly.
I do this with my fingers. I channel it, and then we are taken wherever the timeline wants me to go.
You're talking about the timeline like it's a person with desires.
Maybe it is. It's a metaphor. I don't decide.
Okay, that's fine. You know what? However you want to identify the timeline. But next time the timeline takes you wherever, I want you to try looking down. See if you can observe your hands, your clothing. Just see if you're you or if you're someone else. Do you think you can try and do that?
Worth a shot.
Great. In the meantime, we probably need to try and figure out what other types of, well, beings were here that were known. I don't know if I've ever heard of a being like the one we saw. Have you?
No. Maybe there's a book in the library?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it is Eva's library, so it's probably pretty extensive. Unless it's just got like half a dozen Jennifer Moons novels.
I would like to search the library for something that may tell us more.
Xenospecies.
Is the right book here?
All right, let's see.
There is a list of 40 books that are in the library at the very top of this
That is true. Of
Player
Player
Notes
Notes, isn't
channel.
there?
Mhm.
Are
Let's
those the
see.
book library?
No, I don't think those are the only books. Because, of course, the all of those would be physical books.
Can we do this?
Except for there's several Jennifer Moon's novels have been added since then.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So, like,
That was a sampler.
clearly it's not exhaustive, and she's also got a whole bunch of stuff digital too. But she buys books. I haven't really been representing that, but yeah, she buys books whenever she can.
Mm-hmm.
So
Zeke has been helping ever.
Cool.
Yeah, there is number 32 actually is explicitly interstellar cultures, contact and coexistence. So it's at least potential. It's got the potential to mention non-human cultures,
Okay.
or even hybrid human cultures, genetically altered cultures, whatever.
I'd also check out The Sixth Extinction in our natural history.
Yeah,
As
who knows what that is?
As they're pulling down books, Cherry is actually kind of getting into her researcher's groove.
Are there any picture books?
Mm-hmm.
Does he ask that in character?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
It'd just be easier to search for something that we know what it looks like in a picture book. Do any of these have pictures?
I don't know. I mean, Hold on. She'd flip open some of them. Do any of them have illustrations, Ben?
I mean, the man's not wrong. Let's see. Yeah, we'll say the cultures one has some pictures.
She flips through one, doesn't find any photos, and then flips through the cultures one, sees some illustrations and photographs, and shuts it and hands it to him. Here, there you go.
Congratulations, a picture book.
All right. He's gonna precog if reading this book is worth his time.
Nice.
Any
Right,
creep
so
either of the books is worth your time?
I was gonna say, how does he want to, or how do you want to? Yeah, I guess how does he want to frame this question?
I mean, is this book worth? Will this book? Oof, this is the toughest part because I feel like you're gonna get me on the phrasing.
What? Ben, never.
Does reading any of the books in the library provide us with relevant context to answer our questions about the experience we had looking at the past?
Okay, so let's see here then. Hmm. Okay, yeah. So I think this is fun because go ahead and spend your whatever I think your effort for the day. This is level 3, so up to 3 months into the future.
Just a question, and we don't need to incorporate it into this decision. But if in the future he wanted to use the ability, but like limit the outlook to potentially like a day, is that an option, or is he always looking 3 months out?
No, it's expanding it's kind of like expanding his ability to see, and it will choose the most relevant thing. So it's basically always good if the most relevant thing is, only a day away, given that course of action, then that's what he'll see. But if if he were weaker and saw that, but in fact there's something far more relevant that would happen 2.5 months out, he would need that greater power to see it. So it's always going to show you the most important thing is the idea.
Yeah, I guess the advantage of being a lower level is knowing the time horizon. And
True.
as you get into the higher levels, like at this point, it's 3 months out, right? He's not
Yeah.
necessarily, unless like when within his purview, there's something that can give him some indication of like date and time, going to have really any indication to know like when that information is relevant. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I have wondered about that because especially as it gets into like 3 months out, that can become more of an issue. And it makes me kind of wonder if it wasn't intended that the that part of the response indicates how how far into the future this thing happens, because yeah, in at least some cases it can get pretty tricky to make use of the info if you don't know how, if you have no reference at all for how long it takes for that to happen.
Right. Like if
But
in this scenario, if it would take me like a week to read the book, maybe I want to limit the scope to like a week, hypothetically, right? If that was how it was intended to be done. But if it's not, then that's fair. But I think it kind of becomes limiting as you get into that level 3, level 4 area. Like it gets kind of nerfed.
yeah, um, but yeah, I think my inclination so far has been that that's an intended like slight check on its power that because otherwise it would, if it gave you too much information, it could be it could take a little more out of the game than it intends, and so it's wanting to leave a little bit up to still unknown. But yeah, so I think in
Well,
this
that's also
case,
isn't that
Mhm.
also like a station that many people have about the future is just the further out you go, the harder it is to really nail down what's going to happen.
yeah, exactly, and it it's it's baked into this too, that the future you see is not a guaranteed outcome no matter what. It's just kind of the most likely thing given the course of action that you're considering, and the factors what factors are generally already cemented in the universe or whatever. So yeah, there's the further out it is, there's less sureness, and I've thought a little bit about how to maybe convey that in some of the visions. So I guess we'll see if I manage that when the time comes.
Could
In
I?
this case, actually, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna ask if I could kind of test run a precog prompt, but if you've already got an answer for Zeke, then I won't dip in.
Oh, you're talking about like for this scenario?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I've already got a vision in mind. I think it's totally fair to want to discuss kind of workshopping how to ask the questions and stuff like that. Um, Probably, yeah, maybe for now we'll put that off, and go ahead, because I was just getting ready to go ahead and uh, get us back on track to the question at hand.
Do it.
Yeah, I derailed us. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Precog derailed us.
Yes,
Important
precog.
information.
Kevin Crawford derailed the game. Thanks a lot, KC.
You can't have nice things.
Mhm. Yeah, so yeah, I think the vision, so the vision begins to coalesce in Zeke's mind. Now, is he sharing this with Cherry again?
Yeah, I guess he can do that now. I guess, can we retcon him asking before he does that this time?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. We'll
Uh,
say he's getting ready to do it, and then he
Character growth,
like
learning about
he's holding up his fingers about to touch him, and then he like takes him down and looks over at Cherry.
No, that's not how he does it.
That's what I.
No,
Okay.
he's definitely gonna just straight up ask. Like, I could save us a lot of time and just look for it to see if this would be worth our time. Would you like to see what I see?
She looks a little like stunned for a second, but then she nods. Yeah, for sure.
This should be a lot less jarring. Anyway,
Okay. She kind of like takes a deep breath and like she looks tense, but she kind of nervously puts a hand out toward them, like to shake his hand. Like she doesn't know what to do with her hands, but
does he need to make contact?
oh, thank goodness. And she like lets out a like puts her hands on her knees and like
All
No,
right, so
he doesn't have to make contact, right?
no,
I mean,
that is correct. If you're
it's not
asking,
like there's anything wrong with like that. It's just, I mean, it's a little nerve wracking. So just a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he probably like looks at your hand like, "What are you doing?"
yeah,
Well,
no,
you touched me, sir. She's gonna
Anyway.
cross her arms and get kind of hoity-toity a little bit. She's a little peeved.
He's confused. What do they say?
all right, so Yeah, Zeke. I will say first, I feel like this is since we're dipping a little bit more into how this connection is working. He does when he makes the connection before looking into the future. He observes her emotional state. So any intense emotions might provide a single word or image related to the focus of their feelings. So, Danielle, what emotional state does Zeke get from Cherry, and are there any words or images associated with the intensity of that emotion?
Well, he's gonna there's like 3 emotions that she's feeling right now, and I'm trying to decide which one is like the most intense. After he kind of made fun of her, she's definitely feeling embarrassment, but also annoyance with him.
Okay.
But then kind of overwhelming that is like an excited curiosity.
Okay, so excitement.
Yeah.
Okay. So he gets a nice little confusing emotional cocktail there. And which is, not unusual for people. Then he focuses his mind on the future. And so this is going to be a little different for her. This doesn't carry with it the same sort of almost physical tugging and disorientation that you had experienced before, but you do see see a vision superimposed over your mind's eye, and you are both seeing. You can clearly see from the point of view that this is Zeke. You're in his head. He's got his hands on this large book, and you can see in the background that there are stacks of books and a couple of like e-reader tablets strewn around on a couple different tables, with screens open to certain things, and it looks like there are a bunch of bookmarks sticking out of the different books. And he's you watch as he looks in a book. He's seeming to read whatever book he's holding.
Wait, who's
Zeke? So you're looking through Zeke's eyes right now.
okay?
Is
All right.
the way this vision is working. You're looking out of Zeke's eyes, so you see Zeke's hands, as though they're yours. There, holding this book, sticks a bookmark with like a red bit on the end of it. Slams the book shut with some seemingly frustrated body language, and stacks it in a very large, series of stacks off to one side. Then hesitates and slowly grabs, one book that's set to the side, and is, it was by itself, and cracks it up again. You see the cover, and it's that Interstellar Cultures book, and grabs a couple of, checks a couple of the bookmarked pages, reading, and finally stands up, closing the book again and taking it with him to leave the room. Not with like any sort of ecstatic body language, almost more resignation, but he does just leave with one book. And the vision ends.
Well, I do get the sense that reading the rest of these books is pointless. So, what was the name of that book? Interstellar Culture.
Cherry picks it up and hands it to him.
Interstellar cultures, contact and coexistence.
This was it. This is it. Right. Okay. I'm going to, I guess, at least read this one.
All right, and yeah, just the Zeke has kind of the gut feeling based on the sheer quantity of books and unknown numbers of electronic books that were set aside that he may have just saved himself an inordinate amount of time.
Does Cherry have anything to say this time?
She looks around the room and she seems deep in thought, and then she's kind of moving over to where in the vision Zeke had been sitting. And then she's kind of looking around.
Yeah, so she would realize that the vision was actually in, I guess, let me think, does Zeke usually read in his own room, or does he read in that little library room?
I guess I'm a bit confused because I thought that was his room, but then that wasn't his room.
It
is.
is his
Yeah.
library room. It's all the same room.
Ben's
It's
confused
awesome.
this time. You're right. Avery.
Maybe I am confused. I thought there was some dispute about that last time, so maybe that's why I'm.
There was,
remembering.
and that's why I was saying what I said.
Okay, so it sounds like we're agreeing at this point that the library room is Zeke's room.
The confusion last time was that I don't remember how it came about, but somebody tried to put the library in Cherry's room.
Yeah, the
okay, that might.
smaller.
No.
Right?
If I'm remembering correctly, it's just simply that you had bookshelves in Cherry's room, but they had been covered.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
They were just like storage bookshelves, not like the library bookshelves. And that's where the
Yeah.
confusion about.
right. But yeah, from the very early on, and I think we gave room for it to have been changed with the refit, but early on, there was like that tiny thin room where you actually had to crawl across the bed to get to the head of it because it
Yeah.
was so crammed in there, and the whole wall was just library.
Right.
Yeah, and I
then
guess
the larger room, and he passed up the larger room for Cherry to take it.
Yes.
in favor of the one-
Because at the library room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys at this point were in his room, in his library room looking at the books, and then so yeah, the vision was in this room. Him sitting in his chair there.
Ye.
So you said she was trying to sit in the chair where the vision took place and look around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
If nothing else,
She seems pensive. We'll put it that way.
nice.
If nothing else, what? Sorry.
I would say, if nothing else, does anything come of reading the book, or do you want to give time for that to?
That'll take a little bit of time. I will get a probably a no check from you.
No intelligence, wisdom.
I think I'd take either in this case. But yeah, I would point out he does still have a telepathic connection with Cherry that can transmit thoughts and images, and also pick up her emotional state.
Oh.
Because that typically will last like for a scene, unless you cut it off early.
I feel like he would have just had it open to share this vision, but not,
Okay.
I don't know, mindful of people's privacy or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he would have had instilled in him during his time being trained, uh, that even though he hadn't exhibited any of this ability yet, it would have been, hammered home for every student that you have to be extremely careful about, consent and privacy and stuff with telepathy because, yeah, some people might not be too worried about it if you know them well enough, but general rule, yeah, that's best way to get yourself sent to a summary execution is go poking around in people's minds.
I think you can safely assume that Zeke will always take that path, unless otherwise stated.
Okay, good to know. All right, so good scene, guys. Very good scene. Liked that.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and we can skip forward a bit. Getting our various things done, chilling on the ship, and there are a couple more days to account for, and I don't know how much you guys want to flesh out about what you do for the next, couple 3 days. If you want to just do various things on the ship, or if there's any, poking around outside you want to do, but I'll give you guys just a moment here to speak up if you have anything specific. Eva is getting to put this time towards her project.
Bo might still lobby for hunting dinosaurs.
You said Bo might what?
Still lobby for hunting dinosaurs.
So Eva is so close on this laser rifle. She had 5 days left, and we lost a day to get to Straya orbit, so she's got 4 days left. And Ben's like, here's one day that's gone by, and he said it's gonna be a couple more days. So she's like at 1 day left at some point. Depending on when Bo comes to her, she might just. In fact, I'm not even gonna take the same might. She is just going to say, "Go ask Cherry." And she is so fixated on this, she doesn't even know what she just told Bo to go ask Cherry.
Well, he knows how this game works. He'll go to Cherry and said, "Hey, Eva said it was okay if I go out and hunt dinos. I'll be back in like a few hours."
Perfect.
Oh, that is the best. How does Cherry react to that?
Cherry has her headset on because she's editing her videos and she does not even hear Bo.
He might have timed it for that.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so yeah, he says his piece. She does not respond or even look in his direction. What's he do?
You gone.
All right. All right, so just to get kind of a general idea of what his plan is here, how, maybe roughly how far is he interested in going, kind of looking around the ship before he, might consider turning back, and what is there a particular type of, critter that he's looking for?
Hmm. And I have to get myself in the mind of Bo right now. I'm gonna make a few mental saves to determine some things about
Okay.
how intelligent he's acting right now.
Oh man, I'm just noticing. I went and checked because I couldn't remember what Bo had leveled up with, because I'd kind of thought he might be taking some survive at some point. He went sniper 2 and fix 2.
All right, on.
Okay, so based on that, the thought never crosses his mind, hey, I should stay within a reasonable distance of the ship.
Oh gosh.
But he does concede that he should probably start by hunting something that's less likely to be able to hunt him back.
Okay. Does the thought cross his mind to well, I guess yeah, I'll just say that since this had been done in the past, does the thought cross his mind to bring the teleporter along with him in case he gets into trouble or way out?
Ethan really did say that's a great question. I would love to answer that.
And yeah, if the answer is no,
Nope.
that's all right. Let the dice decide. All right.
Oh gosh.
So,
And that was how I got
again.
to reveal my character.
All right, so Bo gears up, Atmo filter on, with his pack, enough kind of equipment and supplies just in case, something goes not according to plan, but, that's about as far as his planning ahead goes. Not thinking to some of the other external to himself options for taking care of that, but he is determined. He's gonna get himself a dino burger.
Oh my goodness.
Let me
So
see. I think I'm gonna swap out so that he's taking his sniper rifle. I just gotta figure out what I'm dropping.
okay, yeah, I was gonna say, making sure that his equipment is correct would be good in case of some sort of situation. I assume he's gonna keep the nav comp on him.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
is
I'll
a
need that to navigate back.
Mm-hmm. Because he knows he's got a decent sense of direction, but in the heat of the hunt or whatever else can always get turned around. So he's that's one modern concession that he absolutely makes without question.
Let's see, with his fancy new eyes, he can afford to drop the binoculars. And I'm not taking a laser thing, so I can drop the power cells. Okay, and then I can pick up good old Dragula.
Dragula. Nice. Let me see something here.
Is that the name of your gun?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yep. Right?
So we can dig through the ditches and burn through the witches.
Oh my word.
Oh goodness. Okay, so yeah, I wish something that I would really like for the equipment section would be the ability to sort it by status and at least temporarily hide the stuff that's not either readied or stowed, because sometimes it gets a little bit difficult.
Yeah, once you have a lot of items.
Mm-hmm. But anywho, all right. So you've got the sniper rifle, the conversion bow, and the mag pistol.
What's he
Like, so he's-
converting to?
Oh, that's a good question. You're in secure clothing, not your woven body armor.
Oh, I guess you can switch over to that. Yeah, I was forgetting that we're in a place where such a tiger is now legal.
Yeah, now that I was gonna say that does have implications for his encumbrance, but I
Oh,
thought
that does
you-
put me one over. Yeah. Don't think I need the climbing harness for this one.
yeah, no, you can just avoid
So yeah.
any situation that requires significant climbing.
Unless it's a pit trap.
It's, yeah,
Oh my word.
Deck's always thinking of the worst possible outcomes. A pessimist.
Uh,
The DM is definitely not also thinking of those
right?
Like,
while
Dinos-
rubbing his
Well-
hands together gleefully.
Yeah, saying, well, that was the gear you needed to live through this encounter.
Sure,
was-
Ethan, the Triceratops are gonna lay a pit trap for you.
They're
Ah.
clever girls, Ben.
Well, think about it
Yeah.
the other way around. There are Triceratops and raptors, and there are survivors here.
It's true. He's got a rope.
Danger, danger.
I guess is
And-
the climbing harness a 0 or is it
It's a 1.
okay, it's supposed to be a 1. Yeah, so I mean you've got 20 meters of rope stowed, you could just keep the climbing harness and ditch the rope, but rope does have more potential uses, so
All right.
I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I just was noticing that those have a little bit of overlap.
It's like,
question.
well, your funeral.
If
What's up, babe?
if he's allowed to leave the ship, I say allowed very loosely. by the way. If he's allowed to leave the ship, once they find, what they can in those books, could Zeke and Cherry leave the ship?
Sure, just come ask Eva.
Yeah, just go get permission.
She would actually not want to ask Eva.
Okay.
then-
Running
even
into each
easier.
other mid dino hunt.
That's a great.
Spider-Man theme.
Yeah, they're like, hey, what are you doing out here? What are you doing out here?
Eva ends up all alone on the ship because Pete decides to go out for a nature retreat.
Yeah, that
It's
is
her-
absolutely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying it's just her and Apple.
That is
Comes to find everybody and it's just Apple in the kitchen.
just chowing down on something she, nudged out of the fridge.
That she's definitely not supposed to be eating.
Mhm. That's absolutely the plot of some filler episode on one of these shows where it's like they're in a situation where there's strict instructions. Everybody has to stay on the ship. We have to stay out of sight. Keep our heads down, and then everybody separately tries to sneak out without letting anyone else know, and doesn't realize that everyone else is also doing it. Oh goodness. Well, yeah. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Well,
But,
I was just going to say that if Zeke's able to find something in that book or even if he's not, that Cherry would say, hey, what if we just go and try and find the evidence back at the site of what other, xenospecies were present?
okay.
I'm assuming Bo would not be hunting burgers there. So,
Hunting
not
burgers
like-
where?
At the colony.
Oh,
No, not likely.
no, that was actually where it was going. Like, well, that's where I saw the dinos, and I was figuring, yeah, that's like an hour away from the ship.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see
I guess that was
how
his starting
survival check
point.
goes.
If he's had a head start, he might be away from any of the buildings at that point.
But he's also going without a teleporter this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh yeah, so you guys have the real head start. He takes an hour to walk there while y'all.
Yeah. Now, Ethan, that I'm fine with that. I was going to assume, I guess I was about to get a survive check from you. I was assuming that Bo, not having a teleporter, would just kind of start in the vicinity of the ship and see if he could pick up the tracks of something. And not
My plan was
necessarily-
going to be take the known trail, head towards where he saw the capybaras, since that seemed to keep bringing in
Okay.
and dinosaurs.
Well, it was
Mental
bringing in.
apology to apples.
Yeah, I guess it. Yeah, I guess I don't know it. Well, he saw predators. Well, he did see. He saw the Brachiosaurus there at the greenhouse.
Big old lobster monster.
Okay. Well, yeah. If he wants to head off to the colony first, then that's good. I will say if Cherry's wanting to wait until Zeke found something, it's going to take him. I'm going to say at least a few hours, at least a significant portion of the current day to read through that book and find, whatever he found in that vision. Much better than the potentially weeks worth of reading that he would have done otherwise. But so that may give some time for some separation. Let's get a survive check from Bo with wisdom.
He's a professional.
Okay, very nice. Good high roll there for his +0 survive check. So yeah, he goes. He makes good time to the old colony and gets hunting around the greenhouse for some tracks and finds the fairly easily, remembering where they'd seen the kind of the whole family show up a day or two before, goes and finds the large flattened, pretty much circles that the adult Brachiosaurus feet leave, and is able to start following that trail.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so trek off after that.
All right. So, yeah, he'll get going and go ahead and also give me a sneak check. And this can be with dexterity. Yeah. Okay. Call that a success. And so he gets going on the trail and does not attract anything's attention that he doesn't want. He sees the usual biodiverse mix of all sorts of critters out and about in the jungle, and does manage to avoid the notice of excuse me, one little pack of some kind of wild dog that go off hunting through the brush after something. and is following these tracks for a while until he comes to basically a large. Well, he probably sees the mounds and the heat they're giving off, the mounds of the adult brachiosaurs before he sees much else in the near distance, where it seems like they have kind of dug out a little bit of a dip up in under one side of a low hill, and a couple of the adults they're laid down, curled up, and seems like they are just chilling in their nest and giving off plenty of heat to ping his thermal vision.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
So, yeah. He, I guess he has his pick of the litter, more or less. He's able to get a beat on, an adult, and there are also multiple juveniles around. A couple of them are actually kind of wandering around the area, nibbling at underbrush.
Well, man, the adult would be cool, but I do think at this point he gets a hold of his eyes that are bigger than his stomach. Remembers he has to haul this back home.
Yeah, it would take more hauling equipment than he's just about seen in his life to bring back one of these adults.
But then he also feels bad because he's like, the most haulable ones are the little babies.
Is he considering
and so
different species?
Bo's two natures are at war with each other in this moment.
Hmm.
The side that wants to nurture all the little baby animals, and the side that likes good eating.
What age would he estimate the largest, or like the outer range of his haulable or haulability is?
Oh boy, let's see. So this depends a bit on his understanding of their life cycle.
Of dinos.
Yeah, give me a. Let's take a no check with wisdom. Or you could make. I would take a survive, I guess. That would fall in the purview.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'll say he's able to just kind of eyeball it. He's not really sure about their ages, but he does think, some the youngest ones are about as big as he is. He if he did some processing of the the carcass before hauling it off, he might be able to take off a little bit older one. But if he's looking to just get out of Dodge with it before having to do processing, then he pretty much needs to stick with one of the youngest ones.
Before something else interested in eating the Brachiosaurus shows up.
Yeah, because he knows the smell of fresh blood will attract plenty of attention, as will the. Well, it depends on whether he uses the rifle or the bow to do the kill, but noise would attract some attention too. That's also got the benefit of the fact that some of the smaller ones are wandering just a little bit away from the nest.
Oh no. While Ethan thinks about that, can you tell Zeke what he finds in the book?
Yeah, sure. Well, we can take a quick little a little quick cut back over to the ship. So yeah, I think so Zeke, reads through the book, and what he finds is there's not really a specific mention of the culture or the species that you saw in the vision, though there are some depictions of a very interesting looking, similar kind of species with odd variations on the humanoid form, but there is some very useful information that seems to have been gathered from some very knowledgeable sources on how to interact with these other cultures, especially in kind of first contact situations, or with language barriers. And one of the I'd say that what he finds is that some key takeaways from people who've tried contacting these cultures is starting off with an overly helpful and friendly demeanor, with emphasis put on lavishing gifts and showing deference in whatever way you can, because these cultures typically perceive threats and power imbalance from foreign invaders. And it specifically talks, he finds some sections that talk about dealing with lower, more primitive societies, and it emphasizes that point even more, that there has to be extra care made not to seem superior or to show too much power, because that tends to incite fear and distrust, which almost always end up backfiring on the the foreign visitors, whether their intentions were nefarious or not. So he is not able to find any specific reference here, but he does build up a good baseline of insight and understanding into how to deal with these cultures, which I think the way I would treat that is, in some of these interactions, if you have a question about whether Zeke would consider a different approach, or if something in the book would have pushed him in a different direction, then I'll give you a little tip or a hint from what he's read.
Cool.
In case what I already gave you isn't, robust enough.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I believe so.
Okay. So yeah, and that, I'd say that, getting to that, just took a handful of hours to, find the obviously relevant chapters of the book and read them all thoroughly.
He would share that update with Cherry.
She would nod as though, she'd kind of heard that before, but also, agreeing to the parts she hadn't heard before. Saying, that it made sense and things like that. But after a moment that she's thinking for a bit, she says, I'm thinking about, well, I think we should go back to the colony. Think about it. We don't have to worry about what Pete and Bo and Eva are doing. We both have that vision in mind. Between my programming skills and your knowledge and your psionics, I really think we could find something there if we can't find it in any of these books.
I guess I'm a little worried about just the wild animals.
Well, how about if we're in danger, you pop us back to the ship?
That was always my plan.
She smiles kind of wryly. She's like, well, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Okay, so two of you are gonna pop over to the colony, and
Cherry's gonna leave a note for Eva in case Eva comes looking for her.
okay.
Which she kind of doubts, but she still thinks it's a possibility. So she leaves a little envelope that has Eva's name on it.
All right. Then let's see. Now you've got. Are you leaving Ryuk behind?
I think she would tell Ryuk that they were going out, and I don't know if Ryuk got to go last time. Did he?
No,
didn't.
he stayed behind. If she goes to tell him that she and Zeke are heading out, he would look a little surprised and say, "Oh, just the two of you?"
I mean, you don't have to say it like that, but yeah. I mean, do you want to come? She looks a little
Yeah.
confused.
I think I should. He puts his hands up a little defensively. Look, no offense. I think I should. You guys were talking about your last couple of trips out there. It doesn't sound like the place for a couple of you to go alone.
She kind of sighs, remembering the murder squirrels. Yeah, I just got I got tunnel vision. Thanks. Yeah, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, I guess I need to just gear up. Yeah, let me go get what I need. Obviously, I need one of those. Points at her filter that she's got around her neck, ready to put on. He said, any spare weapons or armor that I can take? He looks over at his little, he's got a little holstered laser pistol sitting with his stuff by his bed. I mean, that's better than nothing, but...
Well, I don't know if And then she looks over at her dresser and sees her ribbon on the dresser.
Oh
she
no!
pauses. She goes, you know what? I think Bo might have something.
He nods along slowly. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's go ask him, see if we can borrow one of his. And he
we
gets
don't
ready to
bother
go follow.
him. I'm sure he'll be fine with it. And she just walks to Bo's room, skirting around where she expects Bo to be with Apple.
All right, so Yeah, I think you like stops in her room, and she realizes about the time she gets to Bo's door, he's just started to leave her room and is following her with a very worried look on his face.
Hold on. She gives him
Seems to be finding words.
her best cherry grin, albeit with a little mischief added. And she says, "Oh, don't worry. I'll leave him a note. I'll let him know it was me."
Okay. All right. As long as we're clear that it's you're borrowing his gun.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
She
So
gives him a look and says, "It'll be crystal clear." And then she shoves open Bo's door.
all right. So she goes in Bo's
Uh-oh.
room.
I'm gonna say she gets hit with a Nerf dart, and then sees the sign that says "Warning: Booby trapped."
So you're gonna say someone just opening the door, like not even going in, gets hit with a dart.
He has it rigged
Nerf
up
dart.
like people would do with like a shotgun trap, but it's just a Nerf gun.
My room.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, that's what Cherry is greeted by when she opens Bo's door.
All right. So like, what are my options?
I mean, you got hit with a Nerf dart.
He's carrying most of his stuff right now. So there's a Nerf gun. And then the laser pistol, his advanced bow, and the void carbine.
Okay, where would those be in his room?
Um,
Does he have like a little gun locker or like a little gun box that keeps his stuff in?
yeah, I don't know if there's been any fancy investment in his room yet for
No.
organization, so they're probably all just in their regular bags or cases, but probably slipped under the bed. The most
Okay.
secure place of all. Might also be some grenades. I can't remember how many grenades I bought.
She's not going to touch his grenades.
Okay, there's still just the one grenade. I guess there's some wildlife repellent grenades definitely around, though.
Oh, did he have more than one? He just only had one on him?
Yeah, he bought 3, but my encumbrance has been just like, well, let's hope I only need to repel 1 wildlife per outing.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Then yeah, sounds like you got a few options there. So what does Cherry want to take?
She would ask Ryu what he would prefer.
Yeah, he looks at the spread. He's fitting the Nerf dart back into the little gun and seeing if he can try to figure out how to, rig the trap back up to the door when they leave. He says, "Oh, I guess that rifle probably." And he points at the void carbine.
She plucks it and leaves a little note card behind.
Okay.
It says BRB with a little heart. A drawing of some cherries.
Yeah. All right. So it takes Ryu a couple tries, but he does manage to get the little dart gun trap set back up as you get out of the room and close the door. I think that'll work.
Oh, I left him a note.
Oh. Well, yeah,
then-
I guess.
She pats him on the cheek and she says, "But I really appreciate your effort."
Yeah, he looks a little sheepish, but he'll take the void carbine and then head out with you guys. All right, so I assume the three of you are going to be teleporting over to the colony.
Yep.
Alrighty then. In that case, if Avery will burn a point for the day and a point for the scene, then you guys can pop out there. Then I think at that point we will cut back over to Bo. Ethan, have you had time to consider what Bo will do here with his options?
I think he's still deep in a moral quandary. He wants to shoot a dinosaur, so he's been running through the options where he's like, well, it'd be valuable. I could take one back for Eva and science and whatnot. Then he pictures Eva seeing him drag a shot dead dinosaur baby onto the ship. And he's like, well, if I've ever thought of a mood killer, it's that one. Then he thinks, well, maybe I can do that and then explain that it was like herd management. I took out a sick one. Those sick one, like an albino or something.
Oh my
So can he scan around and see if there's a mutated or sickly looking?
goodness.
Yeah.
You're not getting out of that this easy, Bo. No sickies.
What a flourishing ecosystem.
Hey man,
This is this dang stable ecosystem, and it's dang old healthy baby dinosaurs that are too cute to shoot.
I feel like
I'll
that's on a shirt that Cherry makes at some point that says "too cute to shoot." Specifically for Bo.
say that could be one explanation for this current state of things.
So yes, I think after sitting there for a very long while, that war between the two sides of Bo he'll depart for another dinosaur and mumble. But when I get back here with a tractor, Ian Biggins, you're done for.
All right, so he decides to set his eyes on a different species. So now he's maybe looking for a species that has adults that are
A haulable size
Small.
dinosaur at adulthood.
I got you. Alrighty then.
What does that Google search look like?
Oh man. Have you
Yeah,
heard
I'll
of
tell you
Rule
when I-
34? You don't want to know.
Oh, no.
Sorry, too far.
You crossed
I
the
see.
line.
I certainly hope I wouldn't stumble into anything like that.
You've got the word adult in there.
No, I'm definitely not including adult dinosaurs.
Oh,
But I mean,
okay.
even then, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I guess I would hope that you'd have to put at least another couple keywords in there to find anything bad. Maybe I'm spoiled by my
Safe internet.
yeah. I was gonna say I do also take care. Maybe that's part of it. I just
All right, moving on.
anyway. Let's see. So
Whoops.
I will. Good. I will say I am coming up slightly blank just off the top of my head. I am trying to do some quick Google searching.
I guess we know there's
I-
velociraptors, and he's going to feel more comfortable. And those are definitely, I mean, I guess unless even the Jurassic Park, like a Utah raptor, is going to be a draggable, like a deer
Yeah,
size.
I guess I should say, like, there's definitely going to be stuff the size Bo's looking for. I guess I'm looking for a description. I think I found a couple things that I think would be fitting and would work.
Hey Ben,
But yeah,
it's an imaginary alien planet in the future.
no, I like to have some
The
kind of frame of-
dinosaurs have to be real on a fake alien planet.
It needs a genus and species.
Oh my word!
I just wanted to have a frame of reference in my mind for, like, okay, what sort of body shape and
Sure,
features am I
okay.
going to be describing here, so I don't just like have to do a random amalgamation of dino parts off the top of my head. So
It's
don't
just
worry.
the coolest dinosaur you've ever seen.
Yes.
Imagine that.
Times 6. Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, I needed to do a quick, like, just a skim of dino images to get something in my head, but I'm good. I'm not going to deliberate on this forever. So then go ahead, give me another survive check from Bo, since he's striking off to search up for more tracks, and he's going off more of a clean slate this time, and trying to avoid catching something that he don't want to catch.
Like the COVID. Oh wait, you meant
Yeah, fortunately he's got his atmo filter on, and he's not doing any shenanigans this time. All right, so yeah, I think he would find he would look for he'd go look for some kind of watering area, try to get a fresh start and find a variety of critters, and he manages to find a small stream some distance away. Doesn't take him too long, maybe another 20-30 minutes of trekking around following signs, and lucks into finding what looks like a group of kind of two-legged dinos. They've got somewhat colorful frills along the top of their head and down their neck a ways, and they've got kind of duck-billed mouths they're drinking from the stream with, and keep an eyes out every direction. There's a trio of them, and they, just at a glance, they do seem to be pretty well matured dinos. They don't move like babies.
Get ready to get shot, Duck Dino.
Yeah, they're pure yellow and just a little fuzzy. No, yeah, they've got the usual kind of leathery dino skin, but yeah, if you want to, I think a shoot skill shot would be in order here.
Oh boy,
Given that
these
you're a
dinos are
sniper.
doomed.
Yeah, you do have a.
He's lining up an execution shot.
All right. Then let's see that 3d6, baby.
Let's see. And
Now, is he? Let me
didn't
clarify.
have to use
is he
any
using-
of these.
Is he using the sniper rifle, or is he using the conversion bow?
How many of these duck dinosaurs are around?
He sees 3 down at the stream.
I feel like
They're on the
Is-
opposite side, but it's very shallow, easily weighted by either them or you.
I think he's going to work off of deer logic, which is if one of them goes down, they'll retreat.
Yeah, they don't look like particularly aggressive or carnivorous dinos.
Although the comedy potential of, I guess, both being found out when they hear sudden gunshots and making my own life harder weighs against all that. But nah, I guess he'll use the bow. Hadn't got to use that one yet.
Okay. And say, as a counterpoint, it would be funny though.
oh my word.
That's always the best counterpoint. Let's see.
All
So
right.
is he within normal range, so 150 meters?
Let's see. Is that the normal range? Yeah, I think he could have easily, with that survive check, he could have gotten within 150 meters of them without spooking them.
Okay, so I think my execution is a 10. Let me have that up.
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up either.
8 for one at the weapon's normal range, and 10 for a shot at extreme range. Oh, okay, so 8. Sorry.
Yeah, it's easy peasy.
Blam!
Nice. So you almost couldn't fail it. All right, so now we decided on not blam, but I get the sentiment. So yeah, Bo takes aim and lets loose, taking this thing right in a vital spot, and dropping it immediately. The other two startle, take one quick glance at it, and bolt off in the opposite direction. And now Bo is looking through some brush and across the stream at one dead dino.
Good God, Dino.
So he can trek over that a ways, and confirms that it is in fact completely dead, and then is able to get the arrow out and rig up a way to haul this thing with his rope, because it's a bit large to throw over his
Yeah,
shoulder.
he's a big boy.
But it's
Now thinking, man, I should have brought that teleporter.
but yeah, it's not too heavy for him to drag with the right little harness. So he ties up the rope around the, I guess we'll say the legs of this thing, and gets to hauling. Now, at this point, I'd say he can loop it in a way that he can basically put it over his shoulders like a backpack, the ropes, and drag it behind him, leaving his hands more or less free.
Yeah, so I'm thinking drag that way.
All right, and I'm guessing he wants to go back to the colony and head.
Yeah, I guess backtrack that way.
Okay. Alrighty then. So Bo gets to hauling. Let's cut back real quick here to Zeke and Cherry. Do we want a quick little peek at how things are going for Eva in the workshop?
Sure, I'll be quick. I I imagine that this is probably it's been a few hours, right? This is
Yeah.
certainly not. Yeah. So Eva probably had like a muffin for his lunch or breakfast or something, and whatever time it is now, that's what she's eating. Oh,
Okay.
you know what? No, I take that back because Pete's still on the ship. Okay, so the scene that we see is that Eva has been dragged away from the workshop by Pete to eat something.
He is her meal alarm.
and we're talking physically dragged. Like she's not trying to claw her way back, but just kind of like how Cherry has pulled Eva along also.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Well, I was when you said physically, I was getting a pretty comical image of like Pete having her by like the back of her shirt, almost scruffing the neck, just like her sitting on the floor being dragged,
Arms
just kinda
crossed,
slumped.
pouting.
Exactly, like very resigned to it, but not helping. Like, okay, fine, if you're gonna make me eat, you can make me eat, but I don't have to like it. That would be funny, but
She's trying to argue that she's fine. She doesn't need to eat. She she had a muffin, and I imagine that Pete is not having any of it.
yeah, he was already knowing that he would have to be a little insistent. But as soon as she said muffin, his firmness, raised up a notch. He's like, "Nope, you are eating now."
All right,
so
that's Eva.
Makes her eat, and we get a little check on Eva. She is being fed. So, and Pete does. You as you two pass Bo's room, you. Oh wait, no, I guess no. She's down in cargo bay. You as you get ready, you kind of almost pass through the cargo bay. You hear Apple in her little pen, gnawing on something, making a bit of a loud grinding noise.
Okay, slightly troubling, but not as troubling as having as eating as quickly as possible to get back to work.
Exactly. Eva's confident. She and Bo carefully vetted that spot, made sure there was nothing sensitive that Apple could get her teeth on. So
yeah, sure, it's
she
fine.
says,
It's probably fine.
exactly. Whatever it is, worst case, it could be dealt with later. So, all right, back to Zeke and Cherry then. So they're in the colony, and they were going to be poking around, doing something to try to find more information. What's their plan?
Well, obviously we want to get there safely, so priority one that. I guess I want to check out the area closest to where we saw Armadillo Man.
Okay. And what kind of checking out are you thinking about doing?
I guess looking for that species, really, is the main thing I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
I don't know what Danielle, what were you thinking of looking for here?
I was thinking of looking for any kind of computer or any kind of archaeological note. I'm not expecting to find like hieroglyphics of armadillo people, but like if we can find some kind of record, it would be helpful. So she's looking for that. If she could try and hack it, if she could try and, just anything really, looking for where they might have kept files.
Okay. Um, let's
Something
see. Yeah. So
or before.
sorry, you cut out there. Something she what before?
It's something to look for before.
Okay, you cut out again, but I think you said something she had not thought to look for before.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see then. Hmm. All right. Well, go ahead and one of you guys can give me a notice check.
How good is your notice, Zeke?
So I'm just looking. Mine's +0.
Mine is also +0. So,
Well, yeah. If we do with wisdom, it'd be +1. That's where I'm.
all right,
Say
you
what?
go.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, wisdom. Oh yeah, which negates your -1. I see.
Oh, I have a 0, and then that would be +1.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Forget that doesn't show the total there. So yeah, have at it, Zeke.
We would also want to look and see if, like, we are looking to see if they were a known accomplice to the colony that was here, but we do want to kind of also look around the colony and see if there's any evidence of maybe them camping outside of the colony or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Let's see then. So a 9 is not high enough in this instance.
Could could one of them have assisted, like maybe Cherry with the drone program?
That's true.
Not with that drone in this case, but I was gonna say there could have been a help. It actually would be a moot point at this juncture. I was gonna check and see if you can alternate outcome yourself. Yeah, you can alternate outcome yourself.
Can I
So
alternate on myself a scenario where Cherry helps?
yeah, I'd allow a help check on the reroll. So Danielle, I think for Cherry, I don't know what skill you think she would use to help look around for signs of the uh signs of the natives.
Well, she's really hoping to be able to find a computer of some sort that she can work her programming skills on. So
Yeah,
until one, that's not really her forte. So I think he'd really just be okay with her notice skill. I mean, it's a +0, I guess.
yeah, I guess I would take the I would take her making a program check as her, assessing the state of any electronic stuff they come across, as part of the search in general. I think it's broad enough to allow something like that. So
All right.
yeah, let you use that to help.
Do I roll before he does?
Yes, you do. See if he gets a +1.
Do I do a 2d6 or
Yeah, 2d6. Okay.
Ooh.
Yes, he will get a +1.
Womp.
Oh,
no?
sad day. Um, yeah, that does not. Um, yeah, no, that does not quite get him where he needs to be.
Then really trying to train us to stop before we roll any skill check and ask, can someone help me?
Yeah, I mean, I will say,
I mean, I didn't know we had to, like, anyway.
yeah, I guess a good rule of thumb is like, unless you think it's completely implausible, there's usually some way to justify helping. Unless it's just for some reason it's something that very obviously only one person can have any effect on.
So, but saying that, like, before we roll, we have to ask for help. We can't say it afterwards, like, hey guys, help me out, because, like, my plan had been to help him, but it wasn't stated.
I mean, it kind of was stated, but it wasn't stated that you would help in where.
Right. Fine.
Yeah, I guess.
Future reference, do I need to like pipe up with that before any made? Like,
Yeah, I mean that's generally the way I've always done it is that you have to roll a help roll first. I feel like that's the way to do it, but I don't know. I don't know that it necessarily has to be first. I'm trying to remember my reasoning for doing it that way.
I mean, I'd
Um,
love to be able to keep Zeke's 9 and just add my help to it, but I can
that's
understand I don't want to do that this time around.
yeah. Do you have any input from your GM tendency on that?
I also have the same preference that the help rolls be rolled in advance, but I don't hold hard to it because sometimes players just get eager and just click roll, it's done,
Mhm.
and you know
Right.
other times it's kind of like excuse me. Sorry, that's not the direction I wanted to go. The second point. The second point is it's kind of harmless in that there's not much somebody can do uh to work the system if they see
Right.
the actual roll first. It only inspires, hey, I can bring that up to a 10. Hey, can I help? It kind of inspires that response.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was leaning for. I was thinking, I don't know that there's a really strong reason to make a hard line on that.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember there be, in general, I think it's usually a little cleaner and quicker. But I think in this case, I'm fine with doing it a little bit retroactively. Um,
It's not
'Cause it doesn't.
terribly gameable. It's for me
Yeah,
personally, it's just kind of like it's part of the process. Follow this process, inspire this mode of thought, but it doesn't
yeah.
hurt.
I think, yeah. So yeah, I guess let me for the group answer the question and just say my preference would be that if that you guys talk about who's gonna help first, and then get that ahead of time so you can have the +1 baked in and know who's helping and who's doing the main thing. But um, I'm going to try not to penalize you guys for getting it a little out of order sometimes. So in this case, I'm actually going to say that given the help, saying the help applied to the original role, and then taking my um, taking my house rule that a reroll is at minimum one better than the original roll, that gets Zeke an 11, which makes the cut. So,
Solid.
that being said, the way that plays out, Cherry is determined to check one more time the various structures in the colony. A particular couple that she thought, maybe they'd overlooked something, is able to uh, once again and even more firmly rule out the presence of any remaining, intact, computing devices in the colony besides some of the circuitry in the greenhouse. But the the little bit of computing equipment in there is, does not, doesn't store any information that isn't related to the maintaining of the garden system. However, that allows them to focus their efforts on her other suggestion, which was to poke around a little further outside the perimeter of the colony and look for signs that that any of the natives had been present. And with a bit of searching, we'll say maybe an hour or so, the two of them do stumble across what looks like a little campsite that must have been fairly recent, given the nature of the rainforest. There's a couple little spots were cleared of underbrush and kind of cleared down to the soil, and there's a little divot in the ground surrounded with a pile of rocks that looks a bit scorched, like there was a campfire put there. So yeah, got a little remnant of a campsite. Anything in particular you guys care about doing with it or looking for in it?
Getting away from it, Cherry was not planning on interacting with any living beings today, especially ones that might have willfully caused a nuclear meltdown for an entire colony.
Did you
I
say
gotcha.
natives?
That's I didn't say there are natives. That's what
Oh,
they
okay.
were looking for, signs of natives.
Nope,
Oh,
we
they've-
never see natives, Ben.
You did not?
Nope.
What?
You
But
found him anyway. Use the
but
meta
you-
knowledge.
but that's what you were. I thought that's what you were doing. That's what you were looking for. I mean, obviously the campsite is not explicitly a native only. You know, there's no signs that you see out at a glance that say this had to be natives and not survivors of the colony. But that's my understanding was that's what you guys were looking for. That's why you had Zeke reading the book. You wanted to get his, whatever he found in the book before you went out looking.
Yeah,
I
but
just
we
com-
didn't send natives to this planet.
I think we're mincing words a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what. I mean, I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with whatever you guys were looking for. That's just, I thought that's that's why you guys were looking in the. That's what you guys were looking in the books for, is any information about alien cultures and hoping
Yeah,
to come across.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just more information than I thought we were getting.
What were you looking for around the colony?
Well, I said, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought what I said was if there's no record of an alien species working cooperatively with the colony, that we would want to look around the outpost to see if there were any signs of another people camping nearby. Like of the alien species camping nearby.
is that what you mean by natives, Ben? Is like what we think of as the alien species?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that would have been the what you got from the discussion with the colony survivor you met out in the rainforest. She mentioned the natives with the the kind of the humanoid appearance, but the some kind of
Gotcha.
carapace kind of covering on a lot of them.
That's part of what I don't remember from the other.
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah. That's who she called the natives in a couple. She said that term a couple times. So that's
very helpful. Okay, yeah.
yeah, maybe I needed to emphasize that point a couple more times, but
No, this was a good clarification. Yeah.
so yeah, we'll say that was, even though there was maybe a little bit of misunderstanding out of character and stuff. I think it's safe to say that at least would have factored into your character's perspective. Maybe that needs a little clarifying at this point. So Danielle, you were thinking about like looking for other like human settlements that might have been on the planet.
No, not at all. So I thought from this situation, from the alien that was described, from what we know, out of character, I was thinking this was like more of Tom's people trying to, like the Gakari, trying to find more places to inhabit or something.
Okay.
And so I was expecting it was just like rival colonizers. I didn't think it was more like an Avatar situation of like there is a species of people that already live here and humans are colonizing it.
Okay.
That was my bias of meta knowledge from
Okay. Yeah.
knowledge of the Gakari and how you described the person in the vision. I thought, oh shoot, like we're dealing with, basically like a territory dispute or colony dispute. Like we want this,
Mhm.
so you can't have it, kind of thing. So I did not realize that they had been described as the native species here. So that's
Gotcha.
why
Okay.
when you said natives, I was like, hold up, what?
You were thrown for a loop. Okay, that makes more sense.
And then Dex said, "Did you just say natives?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm listening now."
Okay. Yeah, I could deal because I want to make sure that I understood what was going through the minds there, and because I was trying to figure out what I might have said because somebody made a comment that made it sound like I had given a bunch of extra information or something.
Well, yeah, because I hadn't been
'Cause-
searching for natives, and then you call them natives, and it's like that's a lot of information. It's a lot
Yeah.
more information than I was planning on getting.
Makes sense.
Just turns out it's more information that I should have known, I guess, technically.
Yeah, and yeah, just to take it a step back and clarify what you have found. Um, what you found is a pretty generic bit of campsite remnants that could be, as far as you can tell, could have been any sort of, sapient species. There's
what you're-
unfortunately no neon sign on any of the surrounding trees saying natives
We
were here.
are aliens.
But okay, but then here's what my question is also. You're
Hmm.
telling me that these was native. The colony that was colonizing has no record on their computers of any kind of interaction with a native species or with issues with a native species?
Well, that question is up in the air because you have found no intact or working computers in the colony. That's been the fundamental issue. Most of
Okay.
the
Well, now I'm even more confused. So I didn't get that. So my bad.
Okay, yeah, because and this is yeah, going back to a few sessions ago, um, the colony as a whole looks pretty well weathered, and a lot of the interiors of the colony buildings you found open to the elements and like with soil and debris and stuff strewn inside them, or animals living in them, and the few that you found that were still closed off looked like they had been pretty much stripped clean of anything useful.
Well,
So, yeah, now that we're a little bit more on the same page. Yeah, there's yeah, and I guess maybe that brings the focus back around to the survivor that you met with, who seemed to know a little bit of something about the natives, about interactions they'd had with them over time, and so you didn't have a chance to talk in great detail about that, so you might have more to get from them later.
Yeah. I just feel like at that point, I don't want to say like to retcon them going back out, but like I don't feel like there's all that much of a mystery as to why. I mean, at least it's just like seems like a pretty black and white situation of colonizers and colonized. Something happened, sure. But Cherry had thought that this was a matter of like figuring out who the aliens were, not like let's figure out why they were unhappy
I
kind
think
of thing.
I think
So
part of what you were. Oh, sorry. Sorry, you're done.
I would say so. This seems more like a diplomatic venture versus a research trip.
Well,
If there's working computers, is all I'm saying. I think at this point she would, if we're not going to find, I don't know.
now let me
Well,
jump in here, because I think part of what I think has been lost in the revelations and all the roleplay. Thank you all for all the roleplay. It's so amazing. Is this seemed a lot like it was prompted, at least in part, by wanting to show Eva the vision and not trusting her, and so then in turn wanting to get the information that she was looking for, or basically some roundabout way of getting the story told without revealing the Zeke special powers.
Yes.
So I thought that's what you guys were going out to do, and in that
Yeah.
case, you've done some good. Like, yeah, sure, the whole colonizers and colonizing things. Yes, that's definitely in one of her Jennifer Moon's novels. She would believe that. But it'll be gnawing at her scientific mind to want more something there, and
Some
you know?
evidence.
Yeah. So I'm rambling on now. Yeah, I thought that you guys were going out there to try and circumvent revealing Zeke's special power, but still
Yeah.
getting the info to.
So I think Dex hit the high note there of like, yes, that's like the side objective that we're accomplishing by going on this trip. So it totally all still makes sense. But
Yeah.
what I think we would ideally retcon, and this is minor, is just that Zeke and Cherry probably would have, in their conversation leading up to this event, been more aware of the fact that the individual who incited the entire reactor explosion in the first place was obviously a native, and maybe use that to inform some of their decisions along the way. But
Yeah, I think they.
with that in mind.
Yeah, I think it's at least reasonable to say that after they talked to the colony survivor, that they would have keyed in on, oh hey, so she knows about some natives, and the vague bit of description she gave seemed to fit with what we saw, and so yeah, that's probably what we're dealing with here. Which, yeah, I think from that point on, that would certainly have changed those two characters' perspectives on the situation.
So, man, I guess I am, Danielle, comfortable with everything that we've done, other than that one note of like, we're not as dumb as we might have seen previously, and are aware of the fact that the natives are probably, definitely responsible.
Your characters aren't as clueless at this point as you thought they were.
Yeah, not about at least.
And yeah, I think, and I was gonna say, for what it's worth, I think part of why the confusion got to the point that it did was because everything you guys were saying and planning and stuff was all perfectly reasonable, at least made sense in my mind in the context of knowing about this being a connection to the natives that had been mentioned before. So yeah, very cool. I think we got some good stuff done. Even cleared up a little misunderstanding, and we are pretty well on a good track to stop here in a couple minutes. I think one let's see. One little note to end on is I do need a sneak check from Bo.
Uh-oh.
And this one's going to be with wisdom, actually.
Oh no. Oh wait, I've been doing all of them. Oh, no.
You've been doing sneak with Dex, yeah.
Sadness. Sneaky wisdom.
Okay.
That was all sneak, no wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think what will...
I do want to do one last thing before we end, just to say.
Oh, okay, yeah, go for it.
I didn't know if you were planning to do anything more with Ethan here.
I think not, actually.
Okay.
I get to live.
So that I don't forget it, I think I should have Eva, when she comes back from her forced luncheoning,
Forced luncheoning.
she'll see the note that Cherry left, right? She left that where Eva could find it, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
It is held onto her door with a magnet.
Well, you know that maybe you don't know. Nerds love magnets, and Eva is a nerd, so there's a clear connection there.
Yeah.
So obviously, she looks at the magnet and what did the note say? Did you type it somewhere? Oh,
Yeah, I just
it's
posted money.
it's right there. Okay. Oh dear, it starts with "Oh Captain, my Captain." Oh,
Oh, no.
Eva with a fancy hat. Feather wrench.
Oh, held to her locked door with magnet. Okay, got you.
Oh, that's cute. Eva looks at the she reads the note, and she's smiling from start to finish. Wait, I said nobody should leave though. This is probably okay. And she'll go by Bo's door and knock. Hey, Pete made food, and then she'll go back to the workshop.
Checks out.
The sound of a Nerf gun going off from the vibration of the door.
Yeah, a softly muted thud on the other side of the door.
She
Oh my.
through Eva's mind. Did he take Apple in there with him?
Oh, we don't know where Apple is.
Oh my.
We need an Apple check in.
Oh yeah, does let's see. Oh, I should have said one thing for Bo. That I was debating what exactly the outcome of that check would be. How the success would go. So as Bo is, hauling the corpse through the forest, heading back towards the colony, he he remembers having found tracks here and there, and having seen some predators around. So he takes some precautions, and I guess in his pathing, we'll just be vague about it, and does end up hearing some little chirping and screeching. It's relatively low volume kind of sounds, but he recognizes this as kinds of sounds that the little velociraptors had made. That had little raptors that had been chasing off after the tiger seen before. So
clever girl.
here's those a little distance behind him, and they seem for the moment to be moving, either moving away from him or staying still. But he seems to be in the clear, at least for the moment. We have meanwhile we have our Apple check-in. So Eva, I think that's probably a good update on. Eva goes. I guess where does she go look first?
No, she doesn't. She thinks Apple is in the room with Bo. She thinks Bo took Apple in the room with him because of the Nerf dart funk.
Okay.
So there would be, I suppose, a check if Eva hears Apple noises as she's going back down to the workshop.
Yeah, I got you. Let's see here. So she's going back down to her workshop.
I made a 1d6 table of Apple locations.
Ethan, give me a fix check real quick, since Bo did the lion's share of the work on Apple's pin and such.
Oh boy.
Alrighty. Well, that works
Release the Apple.
That works out swimmingly.
But she's just such a girl. He doesn't need to make it strong.
Mm-hmm. She learned to stay.
Yeah, he taught her to sit.
All right, so Eva walks down the hall through past all the bedroom doors towards the little kind of like combination airlock and ladder chamber for going up and down through the ship. Climbs down one of the ladders. Then as she gets to the bottom of the ladder, she hears the familiar little kind of slightly grating noise of Apple's teeth on seems like something metal. As she starts to walk towards the doors, she realizes it's coming from the wrong direction.
Uh-oh.
And her workshop door is open, as is the door to the cargo bay, and the sound's coming from in her workshop.
Well, that's not a good place for an Apple to be. And she was heading into the workshop anyway, so what does she see?
Apple's chewing on the laser rifle. No, I'm kidding. Like, that would be the worst. She's on the table, teeth deep in the thing's guts. No, she is over under one of Eva's workshop tables and gnawing on one of the metal table legs.
Oh, Apple, that's not food. Apple.
She turns and barks at you.
Apple, come. Come.
She glances at you, but then just goes back to her gnawing.
Alright. Eva spends some time with Apple gnawing on the table leg. Or the whatever the metal scrap was, to construct a definitely over engineering this, to construct a little like cat bed type thing that has a motion sensing apple slice pulley to lure Apple to onto the bed and It's got a little like not harness, but a little rope attached to it so that it can be dragged. And let's give it a hidden pouch also. Not really a hidden pouch. Apple will smell right through it, but a little puzzle pouch that Eva thinks or hopes will take a little bit of work to either gnaw through or figure out how to open to get at the juicy apple bits inside of it. Try and stimulate Apple's brain.
Very nice.
And then once if she manages to get Apple, you want me to roll survive real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a survive check. I'll take intelligence.
I was gonna ask for it because she is trying to be smarter than instincts.
Yeah, she's taking a more analytical approach to this based on the vet, like the vet information she'd done, and kind of trying to analyze the animals' behaviors and stuff. All right, so yeah, that's a solid roll. I'd say that it works.
Okay. And she drags it back into Apple's pen, gives her a little bit more food, and then goes to work fixing the pen.
Okay. Let's see.
You thought we were done.
No, so give me a quick idea of how that's. Oh man, it's already 11:37. We're very close though.
All right, hang on. I got this. Oh yeah.
So describe her, I guess, Eva's approach to this.
So once Apple's on the bed and munching away, she tries slowly pulling the bed, to not, just off balance her and spook her or anything. And that's when she realizes, Eva's not weak, but Apple's a heavy little critter. And she can't just kind of gently pull her along. So now you've got Eva struggling and sweating to pull her, and it's not working. So now she's gonna go get caster wheels and put this bed on wheels. But they have to be low enough to the ground that it's not a raised bed and platform. And then she's got to get Apple out of the bed and then get her back into the bed. So this becomes a whole process for Eva.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think as she's going through this process, it keeps getting heading in the back of her mind that, she didn't learn a lot specifically about capybaras, but it just something for some reason she just seems like she's heavier than she ought to be.
Oh
like, this
no!
right. And
must be all the apples that Bo is feeding her.
Yeah, she's been eating a lot, which Eva had already noticed. She's also pretty resistant to being moved. She doesn't get aggressive with Eva. Really, she does, bark and whine at her a little bit when Eva's trying to move her.
Well, that's why there's a big rope.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think when all is said and done, she's, she's accomplished what she set out to do with making the bed, adjustable and able to be made more mobile. I think an 11 got her a little bit more insight as well.
Yeah. Is Apple pregnant?
Apple is very pregnant.
Let's go.
Eva just sits after she's finished the pen. She just sits down and looks at Apple. She looks at the pen, and she's going to the planning board to start making plans to expand the pen.
Just instant resignation.
Yep, she's gonna make it a cat play place. It's gonna be fully enclosed. Um, the kind of cat play place where the cats get to climb around and mm, look down on you from the wall.
Yes. Oh man. All right. Well, um, thank you for playing along and playing right into my plans. Appreciate that greatly.
I feel
That will-
bamboozled.
That will be I think, a sufficient stopping point for our session tonight.
Man, not the pregnancy announcement from Eva that Bo was ever hoping to receive, but it's his wildest dreams.
Uh,
no.
All right.
Knowing Eva, I don't think she's gonna tell anybody. At least not initially. She's, as we learned, reminded, she's fixated. She's just gonna be building this bigger enclosure, and Bo might wonder why does Apple need so much more space.
If it's only on the planning board, Bo's never gonna find out.
Oh, that's true.
I was
What'd you
gonna
say?
He said if it's only on the planning board, Bo will never find out.
Oh my.
I was thinking the planning board will present a hilarious dichotomy. Like, on the one hand, it could be there like for anyone to see, but on the other, several of the crew members just actively avoid it. It's like hidden in plain sight.
Oh man.
Well, let's go ahead and get faves. We went just a little bit over, but I think that was worth it. All right, and we're starting with Avery for tonight's session.
I'm gonna give it to the whole scene with Zeke and Cherry. Fun.
Which one?
The
live-
sorry.
Go ahead.
Just her pulling him into the room and them talking about the experience and trusting each other and that whole scene essentially. You can call it bonding time. Sorry, I wasn't more prepared to articulate that.
Oh,
No,
it's
you're-
okay. Okay, yeah, I like that. So Zeke and Cherry's psionic bonding time and precognitive book reading.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like, just conceptually, I love the idea of, all right, I've got this research project, and I'm making the comparison then also to like a school project. All right, so this is my subject. Here are all my books. What what do I find if I read through all these books? And just using that to narrow down which books are actually worth your time.
I swear,
So-
wouldn't that be like the best in real life?
That'd be so
That is
amazing.
for real, like, major time hack. Yeah, and I was careful because one of the things said explicitly about the power is it's intended to be more about actions and events than like the way it called them abstract facts. So it didn't just like give you the information that you were looking for, but it did, it showed your actions and, as a result, which book was most significant in the context. So it was it was very close to that little warning, but I think it was good. I liked all that too. Thank you guys for that scene. For me, boy oh boy. The there were several things that I liked a lot. I think
I'll
that,
know what it was.
say what?
I said, "Oh, just say it. We all know what it was."
Wait. Oh well, okay. I mean, the I guess I do have to admit, my first favorite was getting to do the pregnancy announcement. Apple's we'll just be explicit. Apple's pregnancy announcement. I enjoyed getting to do that.
Congrats, Apple.
And I guess as part of that, I guess well, I guess Danielle said time for an Apple check, and I guess I really have Bo to thank for under enforcing the the capybara pin, such that Apple was able to bust out and go wander into Eva's workshop, because otherwise she wouldn't have checked on Apple. But I think my other favorite thing was definitely got to be oh goodness, I guess the baby dino quandary, like the Bo's moral quandary about killing the baby dinos or not.
That's what I was
Um,
expecting.
I was enjoying that, because there was just something about the, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go hunt dinos, and you find some dinos and you're like, oh wait, I gotta kill a baby dino. Yeah, maybe that's not. I'm not about that, actually. Tasty or not about that life. I think maybe Bo may have already known that about himself, but he at least cemented a part of his moral compass there for himself. Anyway, enough about me. Danielle, your turn.
Oh man. For me, I would say that, man, that's so hard. I really like the conversation between Zeke and Cherry, especially at first, where she was like, "Well, why did you trust me with that image and not Eva?" Because Eva's way smarter than me. Because we're always hearing about Eva's insecurities with like thinking that Cherry's so great, but I kind of having the tables reversed where Cherry was just like feeling very inadequate when put up to the job, because it was like, well, I'm not the smartest person here, and you could have, had a smarter person. But I really liked that Zeke used that as an opportunity to say, like, but I trust you, you know. So that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
So I guess like trust between um Zeke and and Fairy, and for, let's see, trying to think what else. I think really the worry about whether or not um to kill a baby dinosaur or not. That was it.
Okay.
Moral quandary, but
All right. That was moral quandary. We got that. All right, Dex, what about you?
So I wrote down like 6, and that wasn't even writing down the last things that happened. I think one of my faves was actually the Zeke and Cherry, the entire Zeke and Cherry adventures, starting from pre-searching and ending with well, ending at the the camp and confirming that there were natives / aliens, what I think of as aliens, camping outside the outpost. I guess that's rambly a bit. So the summary of that would be Zeke and Cherry from pre-search to camp.
Nice.
There was also I also want a second here. Eva being called a genius behind her back was adorable. And Bo using Eva to guide his own morals, whether he actually was just trying to justify to himself that he didn't want to kill a baby dinosaur, or he actually was thinking about how she would react, is irrelevant. The fact that he used her to guide his actions is another fave of mine. So this session was just like I was so happy just sitting back because even though it was all your role play, Siva was involved in so much of it.
Yeah, true. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed. That was one good part of Bo's little quandary with the dinos is his, monologuing either internally or externally about the dinos as he was, sitting there watching them. And then, yeah, that moment of then thinking, oh yeah, I could bring one back for Eva for science or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then picturing her reaction of dragging a dead dino up the ramp of the ship.
Yeah.
He's like, actually, on second thought, scratch that idea.
Yeah. Oh, I know where my first thought was going. From pre-search to Magnet Note, because the Magnet Note was amazing too.
I got you.
Magnote?
Yeah. Magnet.
And I swear I'm done.
All right. Okay, then that leaves us with Ethan.
Oh, I think definitely has to be first in the favorites, but Apple's soon to be bushel of babies. And then I think everyone basically independently deciding to leave Eva on the ship. Find out if even Pete well, I guess he was accounted for most of that. But see if Pete found time to wander off too.
Yeah, unfortunately, there would be nobody to actually know because everybody else is busy doing something else.
We'll have to encourage Robert to find some time for Pete to have wandered off also.
Oh, hold on. I almost didn't mention. I really loved the opportunity for Cherry to borrow something of Bo's.
Oh yes!
Yeah, that was
good.
As soon as you mentioned the ribbon, I knew where it was going.
Yeah.
Such good foreshadowing.
Yeah, that was great because I figured that she would think about going to Bo, but I I was not remembering the ribbon. So when she looked at the ribbon, I was like, "Oh, that's an even better reason for her to look in Bo's room." Because a couple other people had guns that could have been borrowed, but yeah,
No.
Bo's gun was the one that needed to be borrowed.
Well, she wasn't gonna go to Pete
Yeah, true. Because then
because he
she'd
would
get
have
a
snitched
talking
on
to.
her. Eva.
Yeah, that's fair. And she knew he was probably chilling in his quarters, as he tends to do. Oh man,
Probably.
yeah. Sorry. Just cracking myself up before I even said it. I was half expecting her to be like, okay, which one of these does he like the most?
Oh no.
But
She was more concerned with like what Ryu could actually use.
yeah, she was being practical.
She's only being half
Yeah.
vindictive.
Yeah,
Only
and
half.
and plus, Bo probably had all his favorite guns with him, since that's kind of the way it goes. But yeah, all right. Well, very good, everybody. We got a hefty helping of faves, and we've gone quite a bit over, but hashtag worth it. So they are posted, and we can cut the stream. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Night.
Put it down.